So we'll just, anything roll call? Should just be the one roll call thing.
All right, good evening. I have 6:00 p.m. I'm here to call this meeting of the Columbus Utility Commission to order. Today is July 18th, 2024. Jacob, could you take a roll call for us, please?
Yes, sir. Tome?
Here.
Andler? Not present. Finkler?
Here.
Beckman?
Here.
Rule?
Here.
Curtis?
Here.
And Hammer.
Here. We do have a quorum. Thank you. On to item number 3. This meeting has been noticed in accordance with state statutes and local ordinances. Next item is to approve the agenda for the evening. Unless there's any alterations or deletions, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll move to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The agenda is approved. On to item number 5, visitors' comments and utility communications. I see no one present this evening for communications or comments. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. In the consent agenda, we have the approval of the minutes for the June 20th meeting, the June 20th commission workshop, the outage report. It's stated June 19th, but I believe there was an error when we put the packet together, but I think
Yeah, it
Jacob
was
sent out the updated one.
It was the wrong cover sheet.
Okay, and then the financial reports. Are there any questions on any items under the consent agenda? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion on the motion? If none, we'll need a roll call then, Jacob.
Yes. Finkler?
Aye.
Beckman?
Aye.
Rule?
Aye.
Curtis?
Aye.
Hammer?
Aye.
Tome?
Aye. Consent agenda is approved. We have no unfinished business for this evening, so we move on to new business item number 1, which is a Rupert and Milky task order for the sanitary sewer televising inspection program. We have information in our packet about the task order.
Yes. Did everybody had a chance to at least breeze through, look at it, what's going on?
Yes. Looks like the recommendation is to approve the cost for the program, and which would be estimated at $29,650 for the projects that are planned for this year.
For this year, yes.
Okay.
It'll be an ongoing 4 to 5 year program that they're going to be helping us with.
Okay.
Get us back on track with the collection system.
Any questions on the task order? Go ahead, Sandy.
Just one, was this in the budget this year? And if not, do we have something we're going to take out?
There is room in our reserves, but none of these repairs were budgeted for. There was only a $1,500 allotment for televising and $30,000 allotment for collection system repairs. And we're going to be well beyond that. So we do have quite a bit of cash reserves available for the collection system, and we will be tapping into that to fund this.
Thank you.
So we'll budget for it going forward?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay,
Oh, yes.
yeah. Starting next year?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we just need to approve this for this year.
Okay.
We have some repairs, obviously, which are the next item. But yes, we'll be getting a new proposal or a new task order for 25, and then we'll have one for 26. We'll just keep approving them
Okay,
prior to. It'll be budgeted for.
thank you.
Jacob, I recall quite a few years ago that we did contract some of these services out, but is this something that we've just been trying to do with staff at this point, with cameras, just televising the lines?
Yeah, it's generally with our permit, we're required to do 20% of our collection system annually. Due to the fact that we have been short-staffed, OSHA regulations and the state of Wisconsin regulations state how many employees are needed for proper traffic control when you're working in the streets. 3 is the minimum, and we have 3 employees. So if I have 3 employees, one's always doing lab work, Who's watching the plant? So it kind of defeats the purpose for us being out there doing this, because there is details that you need to be able to observe. It's not just jetting it, getting it through, okay, we jetted, we're done. We still need to observe what's in the sewers. And this program will allow us to contract out that labor type work and allow our operators to focus on ways that we can actually better our PM processes and actually bring business and more income into our utility. Also, it'll let the operators familiarize themselves with the way the collection system in the plant is supposed to look by doing random, inspections, PMs, and actually monitoring the lift stations. It's just to basically take the operators from being more maintenance people and laborers back into being professional operators and actually learning their entire community and the nuances of where their problems will be, where their problems have been, what's been repaired, and what's on the future agenda. So it'll all plan out and work for us in the best. And everything with this program will be mapped, identified, and allocated through an asset management. So when it comes to our capital improvement plans, it'll be easier for us to track.
Sure. That makes sense. Any other questions for Jacob on the Rupert Milky task order? If there are none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the Rupert Milky task order. I think it's numbered 2024-CU04.
I will move to approve the Rupert and Milky task order for the sanitary sewer televising inspection program for $29,650. And it's task order 2024-CU04.
I will second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the Rupert Milky task order in the amount of $29,650, task order number 2024-CU04. Any discussion on the motion? No? If none, can we please take a roll call on that one?
Yes. Finkler.
Aye.
Beckman.
Aye.
Rule.
Aye.
Curtis.
Aye.
Hammer.
Aye.
Tom.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. On to new business number 2, sanitary sewer post-inspection immediate repair needs. I believe this kind of follows up to number 1.
Yes, and this has a show and tell portion.
Yes. Very exciting.
I have a lovely array of tabs to go to everything, so you guys will, if you need to look at a page number, we'll start off on page 17. This is the sewer in the St. Jerome parking lot. The circled area, as you can see, is a lateral crack, which shows infiltration of rainwater. At this, on this date was the 8th of July. There had not been any rain for at least 2 days. And there's still water pouring in, obviously, as you can see. So let's go to page 18. This is a picture that is actually on its side, so the bottom of the sewer is actually on the right-hand side of the picture. This is the lateral for 1501 Farnham. You can see clear water running consistently through the breached pipe. There is a hole somewhere on this pipe, and this is a newer pipe, being this style of plastic, and that is at least, an eighth of the depth of the pipe of rainwater infiltrating. So we'll go to the next page. This is where they get a little exciting. You can see the fracture of an 8-inch clay pipe on Waterloo Street. There's one fracture. If you see it, as it goes vertically over up to the top, it begins to go laterally down the pipe. Vertical cracks are common. They're not as big of a concern, but as a concrete pipe cracks horizontally with the length of the pipe, that's when you have a chance of the pipe actually collapsing in. So this needs to get lined immediately. This is infiltration of an abandoned line connected to B11. Water flowing in the line is not connected to anything. This is 100% infiltration. This is an abandoned line, I do believe, down by the Waterloo lift station. As it comes through, it went through people's yards. It was just abandoned in place. It's about 200 feet long. And it's water running through, holes in it all the way down through. It was capped off at the very end where it was removed from the sewer system upstream, but it was not capped off downstream. So all that fluid and all that debris is going right into our collection system, right into our lift station.
Was that part of the forced main? Was that part of the forced main from years ago, do you know?
I believe it was from 17, 18.
Okay, because there was
Around that
a
area?
period in there where they had a leak in the force main where it was coming up at one of the addresses in the lawn.
Yeah, I believe that's the one that was
that
tied,
one.
that was tied
Okay,
to this.
and then they
and
did
that's
a
where it was-
directional bore to,
Correct.
yeah, all right,
Yep.
all right.
A lot of hidden things that we've seen over here. So this is another broken pipe on page 21. You can actually see the actual rupture of the pipe and the soil below it. As you look down the pipe, you can see the seams, that white rings, those are the seams, which are slightly separated. The pipe is also cracked on the right side of the pipe, as you see. So that is another issue. It allows not just water, but gravel, dirt, everything else in there. And looks like a critter from the 1980s horror flick. 211 Oak Street. That is a lateral at the junction of the sewer main. That is a 90% blockage of tree roots. We have no idea how far up that lateral it goes. And they actually had to cut away the roots at the main to even reach this far. So some serious infiltration there. This lateral will need to be reamed or rotor-rooted, roots removed, and then lined up to the home. Page 23 is the lateral for the residents at 655 Dickinson Boulevard. Again, 90% blockage of tree roots. A little bit better picture, but still, looks like a critter. This is the infiltration in and around manhole J23. As you can see, the channel is actually in the bottom of this sewer. It should be a U-shaped channel in the bottom of the concrete. That is water that is infiltrated, and you can see through it, which means it is rainwater infiltrating into the sewer. And it has been quite a bit higher, as you can see the rings and on the brick around the manhole. The water gets quite high in there when it rains.
Jacob, since that's made out of brick, does that tell you that it's older? I mean, aren't those newer ones usually made out of like cast concrete or something?
Yes, this is an older sewer.
Okay.
It's actually in pretty good shape for being a brick sewer, honestly. With the grouting work, it looks pretty good, but it's still going to need to be taken care of. I've seen them much worse where you see brick and then nothing.
Yeah.
And luckily, there's no water coming through, but it's also generally about 20 feet higher than this one probably is in the ground and not near a river.
Yeah.
This is the infiltration. It's not as bad on this one, but on a manhole J19, which is in the middle of Meester Park, you can see the roots coming through, the cracks. You can see where the rust around the actual concrete, which you can see is a newer manhole. That rust means that you have groundwater infiltrating through at the seams, and that will need to be lined as well. And the breakdown of the cost assessment goes through here. Just to make note, there are laterals that were not televised. They were not looked at. Just only a few were looked at. There may be other laterals that need to be repaired, lined, or roots removed. They only did a few number that they saw immediately. But for the total laterals of all the projects we have in this basically 5-6 block area, totals $42,000. It's just lateral work. But the total price to repair all this is $107,000. And the reason we need to do these areas pretty much as soon as possible is starting in September, we're putting in 2 brand new lift stations where all this flows into. And we would hate to have gravel, dirt, debris, everything go through our brand new $600,000 lift station. So this is the start of a program that we are going to need to kick up full-fledged with the plant being in the condition it has been in with the rain. We were fortunate to have roughly 5 years of less rainfall and a dropping water table. I believe we've got that surplus back plus some. We did some investigation today, Peter, and he was doing some billing for the town of Elba. And we found some infiltration in their sewer system coming in where they normally have a flow of around 50,000 gallons a day. For 3 days straight, they had flows of over 600,000 gallons a day. That is our plant average.
Wow.
Turns out the river was flowing into the sewer. So we will be meeting with the town of Elba next week to look at some areas that are of concern. Obviously, that is a huge infiltration, and that hits the plant pretty quickly, which then causes a surge, which then causes us to prematurely go into our bypass diversion mode. So, yeah, a lot of water. So what we are starting to, this is a lot to chew, but again, we do have the reserves that we can utilize, but it is more than necessary to start the program because I fully anticipate and fully plan to properly budget for repairs across the entire community. I'm hoping to do more than 20% a year, but it all depends on how much repair we need and we find. But this is something that we fell behind on. It is on us, and we will make it right by making repairs and moving forward.
Obviously, the more we can reduce that infiltration, it's better for the plant to have more consistency down there. But when you mention things like the town of Elba,
Yeah,
it's,
I mean, it's better for the plant, it's better for the ratepayers. You're not paying us to treat rainwater.
yeah. I don't know if this is a question, but I want to make a comment. On pages number 22 and 23, these both show residential laterals that are full of roots. And on the page, the remedy for this is that the city is responsible for clearing the roots out to the property line because that's what the utility owns, but anything beyond that would be the responsibility of the property owner. Years ago, I think it was before I was the mayor, we tried to create a grant for property owners, and I wanted to make sure that was still in existence. What we were using was funds from the collection fees through the sewer years ago that were kind of compiling and doing nothing. But I think we were offering at the time about $2,500 per resident, which they could use when we were doing road reconstructions and things like that. If they got their lead lateral replaced, they could also get their sewer lateral replaced as well. Which I would just like to double check to see if that's still on the books or not, or if it's something that we can resurrect for cases like this. Because if the city's gonna fix their portion and then you have a broken lateral from the house to the connection, you still have infiltration, so.
Yeah. And that is one of the things that I was gonna bring up in the later, for next week. I was going to investigate the program that MMSD has implemented for their removal of I&I, the removal of sump pumps and cross connections, stormwater connections at their residents throughout the collection system. There's a program that they put in place that actually provides funding, but also provides access and plumbers that are certified. So citizens don't have to go find their own plumber. It's all taken care of by the program where they actually hire one of the list of plumbers to come into the home. They repair it. There's a grant program and some funding and some, loan programs that assist the work. But I do believe the way MMSD did it is most of that is funded by a federal grant. Because, they're a combined sewer area and that, technically we are too, obviously.
Yeah.
So, but there are programs out there, but I'm going to dive a little deeper into that program. I have some information from the collection system conference we went to. I also have contacts at MMSD that are in charge of that program that I can reach out to and try to help the community here and get kind of the same funding and set up the same type of programs.
Okay, great.
Because I can only anticipate there's going to be a number of citizens that are going to need this assistance moving forwards with all the laterals and trees in this community.
Well, I can tell you from personal experience at our last house, we had the sewer failure underneath the road where I parked my vehicle. And at that time, the ordinance was different, so I had to pay to have the road removed, have the sewer replaced, and it was probably a $12,000 job, my whole front yard excavated, but it was my responsibility, and that's why we changed the ordinance to show that the utility was owned up to the right-of-way like most of the other utilities.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of older homes in this community that have clay tiles that are probably leaking or well over
Right.
100 years old, too, so.
I guess it'll just be under the understanding that we need to fully determine where the right-of-way is up from the position on each home. I mean, that's, you know, communities I have worked in prior to, the municipality, basically, their property ends at the connection to the main. So anything that was done there up was a private service that we would either jet or televise or cut roots away where we could, and then bill that customer or that resident, if need be, at, you know, a discounted rate. It would be just our hourly rate.
Sure.
Yeah, the liabilities and stuff, we need to make sure that we know exactly where everything is at, and, you know, to help not only the citizens of Columbus but actually the utility itself. We don't want to cause any problems.
Well, the thing that I learned going through the process at that time was I had to find a contractor that was willing to bond itself with the city to open up the street, essentially.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of plumbers that just don't want to help you because it becomes a bunch of
Yeah,
red tape.
the,
So I had to take the responsibility to make sure that the road was paved, and
The
then it was
umbrella's
tore up a
pretty
couple
high on
years
that.
later and
A lot of
repaved again.
plumbers.
So yeah, that's, I think, was part of the impetus of changing that to the noted right away on each property. And then also knowing that there's a private contractor digging under the street, tapping into a utility-owned main, made
Yeah.
me a little bit nervous when I saw that happening too, so.
I mean, technically, it's what we do now. We have a new lateral, new connection, you know, we just inspect it when it's been performed.
Yeah,
You know, so it's similar, but, you know, if there's no inspection, you know, you don't know what you're getting to.
well, and when it comes to wastewater, you can get a permit immediately for that, and it could be on a Sunday. So if you got a contractor there on the weekend, and you don't have any staff working on the weekend that can come and inspect it, that made me a little nervous as well.
Yeah.
It just seemed like, it's like having an electrician playing with the high wires up on the line. They shouldn't be touching that.
Yeah, I
guess,
do
unless, you know,
believe
someone
there was
from-
some verbiage changed in our permit that states that it needs to be inspected before it can be closed now.
Yeah.
I do believe that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just to piggyback off of what you were saying, when that went into place right away, I think the terminology that came out of it is what was, it would keep in line with the water, where the water, which is basically usually the tree border.
Yep.
Tree border.
In most
Or
cases,
curb
but
border,
where the
wherever
curb
it is,
stop
yeah.
is,
That's,
yeah.
I didn't see the specific one for the sewer. I saw the one for the water lateral, and that was, you know, basically the curb stop.
Yeah,
So-
and I think that's what ended up with the sewer end of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just redefine connection, basically.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of work to do, and we will do everything we can to reach out and make sure everybody has the resources available.
So you are asking us to approve,
$107,000, $107,100.
I have one quick question.
Yeah.
go ahead, Ray.
So understandably so, getting into reserve funds for two separate projects this evening, how are you looking for reserve funds going forward? Because we've had a heck of a
Yeah,
rain season, and who knows what's gonna keep coming.
we have.
I guess, are we anticipating having a reserve crunch soon if we have future issues in this fiscal year?
We will have quite a few reserves left after this,
Okay.
but I wouldn't say it's gonna be an open piggy bank. We definitely have to pick and choose where our greatest risk and reward is gonna be. The discovery today of what was going on in Alba is actually a pretty good smoking gun for us. This being close to the treatment plant is also, you know, a smoking gun, but this also puts us in a position where we really need to make these repairs so we don't damage new equipment. Because I can't imagine that's gonna be cheap, but we'd be waiting 2 years to put these in, and we'd like to keep them as new as possible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was
Well, yeah,
just, if we're anticipating any, like, maybe we need to,
I need to get the
Think about
magic
it.
8 ball and a crystal ball, but, to see actually what else is gonna happen, but, that's one of the concerns we've had, been a lot of conversations with Joe, Matt, other employees, with the wastewater and, water and electric utility. It was just, it's been a year of catastrophes with.
Challenges,
It's
absolutely.
definitely been a challenge, and I wish my grandma was here because she could rub a penny into a nickel, and we could use a lot of that right now.
Well, I also appreciate your, the presentation tonight inside the packet too, so,
Yeah.
and well laid out, so thank you.
Mike with Milky has been very helpful. He was a former Visu Sewer employee and actually installed septic systems himself, so the guy knows sewers, and it's pretty much his life. He's basically a sewer rat. So we got the right guy looking out for us and helping us with the project, and he really did do an excellent job procuring the contractors to help us, but also doing investigations and doing the digging that we needed to do. Like one of the biggest things we found, there might be a sinkhole by the daycare on Waterloo and Farnham. It's in where the golf course tiled the field. There's the small waterway between the field and the daycare. And then it goes into basically a retention pond. It's just tall grass right now. He was walking the line, looking around, and he heard water running like a river. And he starts pushing down the weeds, and he looks in and he says, "There's a hole, no more than 2 feet from the riser of the actual tile. That's a 2 foot, 24-inch diameter tile pipe. That's riser to, and it's less than 2 feet away." So he's looking and he lets me know about it, and it was later in the day when he was there, and I went the next morning and was looking and digging around and was thinking, I was like, well, I wonder if they didn't hit it when they tiled. So I pulled up Google Maps, and sure enough, you can see the tile lines where the auger got sunk in when they were doing the tiling to lay the lining, but you can also see a little white spot right where about a foot away from that dropped the auger, and that measured out by my pacing is right where that hole is. So I went back out and investigated. Come to find out, it's actually a concrete opening tied directly into our sanitary sewer. So we have a major cross connection that was flowing at 40 gallons a minute when it hasn't rained. So big oops.
Yeah.
Or something there that happened. So misunderstanding, or it was just, well, it's here.
We'll move forward.
Yeah, we will. Can't fix the past, but we can move forwards.
Well, I would make a motion to approve the repair work as reported by the Director of the Utilities in the amount of $107,100.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we've got a motion, a second, to approve the sanitary sewer post-inspection immediate repair needs at $107,100. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Can I ask a question
Go ahead.
quick? Do we want something outlining the cost in writing so that when we ever go back to the notes, or am I missing it? I see the 42.9, and then we've talked about it being the 107.1.
Well, if you look at.
If you add them all.
It's all broken
Oh,
down.
okay, thank
Totalized.
you.
Each section we did was
Thank
totalized.
you,
yeah.
mine's stapled, thank you. I
And
apologize.
I'm sure that when the work is actually being done, we'll be properly invoiced for everything.
Thank you, yeah,
It's fine.
thank you.
Good question, though. Any further discussion on the motion? If none, could you please take a roll call for us?
Yes, sir. Beckman.
Aye.
Rule.
Aye.
Curtis.
Aye.
Hammer.
Aye.
Tome.
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
Motion passes. Then on to item number 3, more fun. Substation number 4, animal contact damage.
Well, I will tell you right now that I informed the electrical lineman that I would be avoiding this area all day until it was done, because my presence seems to be bad juju with things that we've been finding where it costs us lots of money. We dodged a bullet even though we found more things wrong here. As you can see, the estimated price of a brand-new transformer is, on the low end, $750,000. We won't need to buy one. But we will have to do further repairs on this substation transformer. The raccoon took out the high voltage couplings, I should say the ceramics, the insulation ceramics. The high voltage couplings were actually in good shape, so we did not need to replace those. But the low voltage couplings that are inside the transformer are damaged. They are not available. So they will need to be ordered, and they will be here sometime in October. So we will be not using this transformer until we absolutely have to, just in case we have further damage, but you never know what might happen. We might need to power it back up. It was running. It never tripped when the raccoon decided to see Jesus, because it was bad. We don't. It was a surprise, but I'm honestly surprised we didn't have more damage from the way it looked. But we're lucky on this one. So Forrester gave us a price on Friday when we did the investigation, and I'd say he was pretty close. He said, I would say no more than $20,000, and it sounds like it might be between $10,000 to $20,000 for total plus the work. So that was a pretty good estimate for where we were at. Definitely dodged a bullet. We will complete this work after we finish the substation 3 repairs, which are scheduled for September, late September, early October. So when we get that taken care of, we'll finish this up.
It says on here, though, that the repairs are required and have been scheduled for Thursday, July 18th.
Yeah, they were there today to do the work and do the PM, but there's obviously more work needed to be done.
Okay, all right.
We were trying to get it back in service as quick as possible, and the gentleman that does the PMing and the inspections he's harder to schedule than a plastic surgeon. That's just, he's very well respected and needed across the state. So we had 2 days that he could actually be here, and Monday got changed because of the weather. It was too hot, so we wanted to take it out today when it was cooler, and everything went smoothly for the most part.
What outfit was that?
I forget his name. I really don't know. He's done all of our inspections before.
Oh, okay, Jason. From
Jason.
Engineering. Oh, okay, all right, all right.
Sorry, names get past me sometimes. But yeah, he's very busy.
Yeah.
He's definitely hard to schedule, I can tell you that. But yeah, that's where we're at. Monetary value not to exceed $20,000 is what we're requesting. Once we get the actual final invoice, it will obviously be less, and we'll just approve it once it's there. But asking for at least 20, and it's available.
Any other questions or discussion on this item? Anyone want to make a motion?
I will make a motion to have the repairs done on the power tub at substation number 4 with the estimated $20,000 for time and material.
Second.
Get a motion and a second to approve the repairs for the substation number 4 transformer, not to exceed $20,000. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, could you take a roll call for us, Jacob?
Yes, sir. Rule.
Aye.
Curtis.
Aye.
Hammer.
Aye.
Tone.
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
And Beckman.
Aye.
Motion passes. Move on to reports. Jacob's got a printed report, director's update in our packet for us, which looks quite lengthy as usual.
It's not that bad. It's more wordy than anything else. We'll start off with the electric. As everybody knows, Fireman's Park was completed before the 4th of July. They did an excellent job. It looks very good, except for someone drove something into the mud and got stuck.
Well, that wasn't in
Yeah.
our damage area.
Nope, that was not ours.
And then the fellow tried to deny even doing it, even though they had his license number and everything, so.
Yeah, well, looks like he's gonna be out there with a hoe and a rake. Yeah, so that's all taken care of. These guys were busy. They were working on outages. They were trying to work on Highway K. We actually worked so hard we ran out of wire. Then we had to make an order. I had to ask Matt for funds so we could actually replace some hardware that we are low on, just crimps and clamps, everything else. They've been busy helping our community and others. So We had a transformer delivered. That was good news.
Three-phase or?
I believe it was, yes, I believe it was the three-phase. The one we had on order, I do believe. So yeah, as far as the Fireman's Park work, what's left, I'll cover that real quick. The lab work is complete by signing the check this evening, and we'll send that out tomorrow morning. They will release the results to me once they receive their payment. From there, I will review the PCB levels in the remediated zone and the spoils. I will compile a map, proper report. WPPI has assisted me with GIS mapping and placing a grid, so everything will be completely gridded out and then show exactly where my samples were taken via GPS coordinates. I will present the report and the data results to the DNR and request their recommendation of where we should be able to dispose of these spoiled soils. In all hopes and prayers, there is no PCBs found in the samples that I took, and we can actually integrate that into compost sand and actually use it for fill. If not, we will have to be discussing where we're going to dispose of it in a landfill or a possible Superfund landfill. But let's hope we do not have to go that route. But yeah, that's where we're at. Otherwise, we're pretty much wrapped up, besides, insurance paperwork. The water department, the air system on plant 1 failed. So the solenoids were shot and the system was filling with water. Too much condensation, so we've had to order a header, a number of solenoids, and we'll be replacing that as soon as possible to get that plant back up online. But we found out today that on the 29th of July, Lee Mechanical will be starting the overflow repair on Reservoir 1. So with next week, Jake and Craig will be draining that reservoir and making sure it's completely empty, to get that prepared for the work that's going to be done. They did state DNR testing. Hydrants were being flushed. We also had some hydrants being sandblasted and repainted. It's ongoing. That'll be throughout the year. We have James out there doing that. Sewer work, the clarifier deck work is ongoing. They will be pouring concrete on Monday. That's been delayed. They have a little bit of an issue. It's been straightened out, and we'll be starting to wrap that up once we get everything poured and set. High flows and high nutrient loadings, as you can expect, have devastated the plant over the past month. We've had numerous equipment failures causing strain. On top of that, it is frustrating to Peter, the staff, and I, but we did have numerous violations of our permit that we are reporting to the DNR. We do have an action plan in place, which is what you guys approved this evening as part of it. But we will be on doing more investigation, more repairs, and preparing ourselves hopefully better for the next rain event. With the way things have been, it's been a little non-typical. We met today with Rupert Milky, Dave Arnott, went over some things in the plant that we felt our shortcomings are areas that we have concerns on. He agreed, validated some of those concerns. He's going to be diving into some of the diversion levels. For us to go into a plant diversion at 1.5 million gallons or to 2 million gallons is much less than the 5 million gallon set point that was originally set by that design in the 2018, I believe, is when they did the overflow plan. So that's some investigation we're going to be looking into. We did make some changes in the plant for our phosphorus removal chemical. We returned the feed of that into the plant influent line before grit removal, which will increase its retention time in the plant. It was being fed at the splitter box where the mixed liquor is sent to the two clarifiers and then settled out. What we were finding is that the chemical at a higher dosage was actually defeating our ability to dewater the sludge out of our extended aeration. PAC is a coagulant, which is the set precursor to a flocculant, which is what a polymer is. But they interacted in a way that the charge was reversed or increased, where our polymer couldn't actually bond with the sludge, and it was causing us to have wet sludge and running around, and looked horrible. So not only that, our phosphorus levels were extremely high, where we actually had to really tap into our water quality trading, and we were actually at a negative number, which was unfortunate. But now, since we made the move, the plant phosphorus level is looking normal. It is within the parameters that Mr. Arnott basically said that is our normal and our acceptable range. So we will be continuing with this addition point, and we will have the secondary feed point if we have a spike, or we feel that we have to go into blending events again, or we need to increase the amount of phosphorus removal we can add back at the splitter box with a pump as well. With that, the retention time being reduced so much in the plant, the clarifiers actually dispensed, or what we call it, spewing. They overflowed their solids out of their actual weir into the effluent channel, which caused the TSS to be high, which then takes up the chlorine, which doesn't allow us to disinfect, which means our fecal coliform counts were extremely high when we reported it this month. To be honest, it was very hard on both Peter and I to have to do this. We're both kind of perfectionists, and that's one thing we really wanted to focus on, is making sure we're doing the right thing and doing the best we can with what we have. And this kind of took us by surprise how hard it hit the plant and how much damage it actually did to us process-wise. We're working on it. We made some changes. I made some suggestions. We're talking with the guys to be more diligent. But then again, like I stated, we have to be diligent to be seeing what normality is and the way things look in the plant versus running around being maintenance people, fixing what's broken all the time. And for most of this month with the high flows, things just kept breaking. And there's only so much time you have in a day, and water doesn't stop flowing, and it doesn't stop coming at you, so there's only so much you can do. But we'll keep going, and we'll keep prepping and doing what we can. The Aquafix trial is done. It was a success. With the variations in flows and sludges, it probably wasn't as successful as we anticipated. But as far as sludge production, that was made into cake and going into the hanger, from April until this week, we saw 50 cubic yards reduced in the actual sludge that was dewatered. On top of that 50 cubic yards of sludge, it was formerly a 12% solid. It is now 18 to 24% solids. The sludge itself, with the enzyme in the actual extended aeration basin, without any addition to chemicals from our side or any other matter, the enzyme caused a biological reaction which actually reduced the volume of solids inside that vessel by 3%. So the bugs worked by digesting 3% of the solids that were originally organic, but insoluble organics, they were able to digest that amount. That's less. So that's 3% less that we had to worry about. Also, we were able to go from our set point of 6,000 mixed liquor to anywhere between 28,000 and 30,000 mixed liquors. So that means we're feeding sludge to our belt filter press. Instead of being 0.6% solids, we're at 3% solids. So that is a very, very good indicator that we can continue this and actually set and regulate that process where we can actually feed at a constant rate and reduce our need to really dewater and make sloppy cake. So we've started to inoculate the north side now that the test is over, and hopefully we can see even better results now that both sides are going to be regulated the same way with the enzyme. Land application will be starting next week. Sabo will be taking our cake to the fields because the weed is now coming off some of the fields and we're able to land apply. So we'll start off with an empty hanger hopefully here pretty soon. We did see some errors. We saw a septic receiving error on a billing for Q2. It had been there since 2020. One of our customers has been getting billed the flat rate, which was lower than our base rate for anyone else. Everybody else has a standard rate. This customer was only paying $7 and some odd cents versus almost $9. And then even for high strength or extended, extra strength waste is $25 or $35 per 1,000 gallons. They were paying $7.75 flat. So Peter caught this, informed me immediately. I verified it. Yep, sure enough. The customer was sent a letter stating that it has been our mistake. We will not be back charging them, but moving forward as of Q2 billing, you will be paid the rate that is standardized throughout every other customer for our septic receiving. Which is kind of null and void because as of today, we made the decision that to limit the plant's capacity with solids and nutrients, we are going to limit the time frame in which septic receiving will take place. It'll only take place from 7 a.m. to 9:30, 10 o'clock instead of all day. So that should greatly reduce the amount of waste we're taking until we get the plant under control. We see some regulation of flows, and we make sure that we get as much of this rainwater out of our sewer system so the plant can actually regulate. Yes, it's a little bit less money that we're receiving, but honestly, for the price that we're charging, it costs us more to treat the waste than it does for us to receive it. Upcoming month, electric will be hopefully quiet.
I like your last comment there.
Yeah. We don't have any. Yeah, the Highway K conversion, we're gonna continue to work on that. We're gonna work through what we can with what we have for the budget. We've already made some purchases on, restocking. Got some work to do. We got more line in, so the guys are gonna continue working on what they can. And always prepare for our next emergency event, but pray we don't have any. Water overflow projects, as stated, will be starting here. Will actually be the 29th of July instead of August, which is a plus. We're gonna repair the air system in Plant 1. When everything's done, we'll get that back online. They're gonna continue the hydrant flushing, the painting, do the DNR testing. Hopefully, we'll be able to get onto some lead and copper inventory and do some hydro vacuum with the new Vector truck that arrives the 24th. So the big purchase of the year is going to be here next week, and everybody will be trained. If you'd like to come get trained on a vac truck, it'll be here all day on the 24th.
Sounds exciting.
Bring proper PPE.
I'll pass.
It was nice for water leaks.
Yeah.
It cut down time a lot for water leaks.
Oh yeah, I mean
Well, what you can suck out and
hydro
use in the
excavating is a
pressure.
lot faster than a shovel and a lot faster than a bucket. Plus, it's a circle.
Well, I mean, for water main breaks.
Yeah, I mean, but
you're
you're
opening
draining
up,
it,
and once you
yeah.
get down there, it makes things go so
Oh, yeah.
much faster.
Oh yeah, they're a helpful piece of equipment. Even the hydro excavators that are trailer mounted are
Yeah.
lifesavers for everybody. But yeah, we'll be doing that, and that report for the services is due in October for the DNR. Sewer, we're gonna do Aquafix in both tanks. We're gonna finish up that clarifier decking. We're gonna do some collection system work. We're gonna keep investigating septic receiving rates, and we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do moving forwards with another possibly industrial, commercial, and the septic receiving rate case. We need to look and investigate, make some calls and see what other communities, if they're actually taking septic, which most communities have stopped taking septic in our area. So for us to actually be able to take it is a benefit to us because it'll be money that is going to be incoming. But the way we're set up right now, it's not really to our best benefit to take as much as possible. But yeah, we're going to be working through that. We met with Rupert Milky today. We're planning the biosolids processing capital project that was proposed as the dryer. We're gonna move on with amended program of that. We're gonna go with the dewatering. Originally it was gonna be the volute press. We're gonna try and bring in a screw press manufacturer as well as a volute press manufacturer and see if they can woo us and prove to us why it's the best investment for this community. Screw presses, I know they move a lot slower, but they make a lot higher cake. They push a lot more water. To be honest, if we get our levels regulated where we can actually just run the plant, set it and forget it when it comes to solids processing, I would rather see us run 24/7, 365 solids processing than every other week or every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, and just run, and then just start and stop. Just like wastewater treatment, just like the biological process. Once you get your dewatering chemicals and your feed rates and everything dialed in, and the computer system that we're gonna be installing and the upgrades to our PLCs and our SCADA for this project, once you get everything regulated, you should be able to keep it pretty steady. And equilibrium, steady state is a happy state. So that is our plan moving forwards. We're gonna try and push that to get it ready for next year. So we'll see how it goes. There's other projects we're gonna be working on, capital projects for the CIP, some design, some thoughts, and some repairs for next year. So it's gonna be I think this year's busy, next year's gonna be busy too. Hopefully just not for emergencies. We're gonna work on getting the plant back to compliance, and also the WPDS permit is coming up soon. We got the 100-day notice here this past week. So Peter and I will be sitting through and starting that process and making sure everything's kosher with that. Overall, for the utility, we begin the budget process. The Baker Tilly financial audits for all 3 utilities is completed. We're going to continue to work with the community school district, community and educational endowment program, and for support. We were hopefully going to be able to provide a program where the students of our Columbus School District's art program were going to be able to design murals or paintings or artwork to put on basically vehicle wraps that we were going to use to wrap our utility boxes and, possibly the old Countryside Ford building, put across the windows, just to help beautify the community and add children to get involved to what the utilities do, and also to give the kids a little bit of pride in their community and say, look, Mom, I made this, show it off to their friends. And other communities have done it, and I think it's an excellent program, and I do believe that the more we can do for our kids in this community, the better off we'll be. Which is another thing that we've added with the assistance of a benefit program that we have through WPPI. Columbus Utilities has made a decision to fully sponsor Columbus football for the year 2024. We did an endowment that will be paying for the television broadcasting for all the games. We will be displayed as the premier provider for the funding. But also, on top of that, the Columbus School District has started a broadcasting sciences class. So we are actually helping fund that, so the students are actually going to be doing the broadcasts for the games. So it not only helps the athletes, it helps those that want to be in broadcasting. On top of that, we also sponsored the remainder of the school year's sports. So winter, spring, summer sports, anything that's televised will be sponsored in part by Columbus Utilities. Again, the more we can do for our kids in this community, the better off we are. And the more involved we are, showing that we take pride in what they're doing on and off the field, the more they take pride in us. And that's what I have.
Thank you for all that.
One comment.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Do you have a date when the Baker Tilly rep will come to?
Quit jumping the gun, Joe.
Huh?
That was my future topic.
Oh, okay.
So yes, future topic. Next commission meeting, Jody of Baker Tilly will be here to present all 3 utilities audits to everyone. It'll be a short precursor to the meeting, so she doesn't have to sit through everything, but we'll have all the reports and it'll be gone through.
All right.
So, yeah, that's that.
Any other suggestions for future agenda topics from commissioners?
anything you want me to look into, I'm more than happy to.
I don't necessarily want to put it on the next agenda, but the discussion we had about the lateral grant that was once available, I'd
Yeah.
like to bring that back and see if there's a funding
Yeah,
source or.
that was, I was a sub part of my future topics, that I
Okay.
was going to be looking into that, or how our ordinance is written and actually done, so just so we have clarity, so we know what we can do, and, you know, it's gonna be a large amount of money for a homeowner, but it's gonna be a large amount of money for us. Over 50% of your I&I comes from the laterals, which means over 50% of our money we spend on actually repairs is mostly going to be going towards fixing laterals up to homes. Unless we have major catastrophic failures, knock on wood, of mains and, you know, interceptors. That is where most of your I&I comes from. So it's, every community deals with it. It's just, ours got away from us. And I do apologize for the past regressions.
I did want to just say, I mean, obviously, you just went through a very long list of things you've been working on, but with all the crazy weather we've been having this summer, I think that we're lucky to have locally owned utilities, and I haven't had an outage at my house, maybe just a flash or whatever, but with all the flooding and everything else, I know that the crews have been very busy keeping up with stuff, and we've been very fortunate to have the utility services that we get in this community, so I definitely appreciate it.
We'll keep them on the hamster wheel for you. Thank you very much for that.
Unless there's anything else, Molly?
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn, motion and 2 seconds to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
that's how it should be.